G'day, I'm Ash, enough of that. Today we'll be taking a look at the Tornado IDS Marine Flieger. Have had about 20 or so matches in this thing and I've had relative success playing this machine. It by no means is a good machine, by the way, and I do apologise for Galjan stealing my textures. I don't know why there's a texture bug at the current rate. Now, 2 drop tanks, very important. This thing is incredibly thirsty. 2 cannons as well, 27mm Mausers, the BK-27s, with 180 rounds. You've got a self-sealing fuel tank in the ventral stabiliser, just near the rudder, which is a bit interesting. I guess vertical stabilisers need fuel tanks now. That's kind of neat. And then 2 massive honking engines, followed by, 2 crew members, and just absolute... What a good-looking aircraft, aside from the fact that in War Thunder, it is practically useless. Now, what's different between this version and the other German version? Well, not great deal. It gets dumb bombs, which means they're not, lockable on, or should I say, smart in any way, and they only get access to the anti-ship missiles. Now, the Italian one has been photographed, the Italian IDS, or Tornado, has been actually photographed with these missiles, so why aren't they on the Italian variant? Anyway, beyond me, I'm not Galjan Entertainment. This thing is horrible to play. There's no real sort of way to describe this outside of the fact that the AIM-9Ls, they're lemurs, they do 30 Gs, they've got lock-on of 3 Ks, all aspect, and then rear is 6 kilometers. So a very, very versatile missile there. It's probably its best attribute aside from maybe the guns, which have a hit or miss chance of quite high. Considering how hard the airframe locks up, it's a heavy bastard. It really is. And without ado, let's get into some quick clips before I show you a decent match. Right, so this thing's incredibly fast, although if you're not paying attention, you can easily rip the wings in this thing. And despite it being an incredibly versatile piece of flying brick, yeah, this thing still manages to survive. And yeah, it does go back to the airfield, although you'll usually end up by being the last one in your team alive, considering the amount of hordes of these vehicles that are currently flying around. And as I'm just about to touch down here, it finally goes. There are no active players on our team. Anyway, the other interesting thing about this vehicle is it kind of doesn't do as well as you think it would for maneuvering against missiles. But flying through an enemy team doesn't really matter. You've got some flares, they can't really turn. They can't really catch you either. It's a bit like flying a 104 that's really, really fat. Anyhow, chasing this F-14, and there go the drop tanks. I wanted to show that as well. It's the only reason for showing this clip. And obviously that the missiles can do their thing. So there you go. Unfortunately, I do die to another F-14 very shortly as the team gets absolutely wiped out because we're all tornadoes. But hey, I don't make the rules. Anyhow, what's also unique about this particular vehicle? Well, its top speed is 2,308 kilometers an hour. And I generally play this vehicle like I'm hanging it on the deck. There is no reason for you to really be going too high, as you just, sparrow bait essentially for F-14s. So do keep that in mind, even though you will probably be down tiered most of the time, you can get away with seeing other tornadoes on the team. Or on the enemy team. I'm going to be a bit cheeky, pull flares and launch one. All aspects, mate. He stood no chance. And of course, I'm not going to mention it, but I do rip my wings here shortly after. But there is this missile sound effect following me around. Anyhow, when you least expect it, missiles will certainly come out of the woodwork. And I wasn't sure where that one came from. That Harrier must have launched it. I want to showcase how much of a bust this thing really is. I've deployed the air brake, slowing down off the afterburner, now going back on the burner again, and we're going to chase this Harrier down. It's such a bust that I actually think the 104 is actually more maneuverable than this thing. It'd be very nice to actually see, a fighter variant of this one carrying more missiles, but at that rate, what you've just got is a missile carrier, and it's a bit, it's even heavier than the MiG-29. The MiG-29 is basically a swan comparatively to this. Anyhow, F-4J is approaching, and notice that I only sort of, use the missile's maximum arc there. 30 Gs, no problem, but I have run into a bit of a problem here. F-8E has now decided that I am perfect target for him. I'm going to bait him with the rest of the team, and then, well, you know, it just sort of showcase what this thing is a bit like. You'll get a couple of kills here and there. Generally speaking, you'll either get done by F-14s or you'll get clobbered by a MiG-23, which has happened, or 27 occasionally. So yeah, those are things you've got to be watching out for. Don't rip your wings, and pay attention to your surroundings. Onto the full match. Now, it should be noted, does get combat flaps, does get takeoff flaps, does get landing flaps. It also gets an air brake and an arrestor gear, so this thing can land on a carrier if it really needs to. I don't really know much else about the vehicle aside from the fact that, well, it's got CCIP on the guns, it does have CCIP for bombs, and CCRP for bombs. Does not have any rockets though, and the Mauser BK-27, the 27mm, is quite interesting with 180 rounds per gun, so total of 360. Now, I really do not like this machine at all. It is seriously worse than any other top-tier vehicle that is in the game currently. Is it bad? No, because you could easily just take some dumb bombs, go bomb a base, get some points, and then maybe a missile off a MiG-21 or kill an F-5C, for example, with your AIM-9Ls. There isn't a problem with that. But it's just such a bus, you have no idea. So it really is just a 104, but fatter, and it feels like a MiG-29, but even fatter again. So, derogatory terms aside, I really love the look of the Tornado, but I feel like War Thunder wasn't, like, I do feel like this thing should have been in a previous update with the F-14 maybe, just so people could have maximised their use case of this vehicle. Granted, it's not bad right now, but I do have a level 75 crew on it. They are fully aced as well, almost fully upgraded, and I can tell you this much, the slightest G maneuver, you'll be ripping wings like nobody's business, even though the engines are fantastic. The general airframe behind this machine isn't exactly the greatest either. Another thing to note is it consumes fuel like no other. You thought the Vegan consumed fuel like nobody's business. Well, this thing, even with its drop tanks that have 20 minutes, I'm already, just at the start of the match, down to about 10 minutes. And look at that fuel drain, almost down to 9 minutes already as we're speaking. The bomb's limit is maximum to about Mach 1.05. It has a very sluggish and slow turning rate, is unable to effectively maneuver in any case or scenario unless you pull it up into a vertical and then you expose yourself a little bit. Only has access to 2 AIM-9Ls for air-to-air purposes, doesn't have a search radar, and tracking radar is limited to 5x6, and only has a 2-kilometer effective range. So while it does have excellent cannons and missiles, that's the only thing going for this machine. Its survivability is non-existent. Good luck, you won't be able to take a hit worth a damn, and well, now it's up to chasing fighters. Anyway, we're in this match, and this was a particularly strange one because I thought the whole entire team would have crumpled, and they did in a way. This F5 is chasing this other Tornado, and there's 2 Tornadoes in front of me. There's another F5 to my left, and of course, my missile goes and locks on the friendly. There we go, we're going to launch one at that F5, and then we're just going to pull away, try and engage with this. I'll just deploy the flares there. He's going to try chasing us, but just look. Careful not to rip the wings there as I'm sort of just wobbling all over the place. That's what this machine does best. Look at it, absolutely just accelerating like no other. And he can spray and pray all he likes. He's not going anywhere. Now I'm going to wait to a safe distance, to loop back around and see if we can get another kill. Because while we have our first kill of the game, I really want to get more than just the one. Which is quite funny. Getting an ace in this particular machine was actually such a struggle that I will never, probably ever, fly this machine ever again, unless it's on maybe a live stream. Go follow me on a live stream. Now, we've still got a few minutes left of the video. I haven't even shown you what it can do. Nice shallow dive there, just hitting the trees a little bit. Trying to help this MiG-21. There is a Mirage up to the left. And apparently there's a Harrier and another F5, and another F5 in the far distance. Now, we're going to lock on this F5. He's deployed flares once. I'm going to give the old cannons a go. We do a little bit of a miss there. And, well, we continue pushing on while the other F5 that was behind him is now locking on me. Careful not to hit the trees. Just deploy the flares again. And I just don't like top tier jets. I don't really like playing low tier aircraft either at the moment in just recent times. Oh, hello. Okay, we're using the guns here. We get a critical hit on that guy. Unfortunately, the Harrier does take out that particular aircraft, the MiG-21. And now it's a MiG-23 and 4 F-5s. Which are very, very decent on their own right. And there's also a Harrier as well. Okay. Well, one F-5 that I shot is now down, so he's lost his tail control. He's gone into the drink. There's an F-5 right here that I'm going to put a missile towards. Should have aimed that a bit better, would have actually got the kill. Harrier wants to go head on, like an absolute fool that he is. He would have killed me there had he had the right gun sort of aiming, and well, the F-5C is lucky that I couldn't get guns on there, because I would have killed him as well. Anyway, rearm and repair, let's take off. This MiG-23 has killed one of the F-5s, and there's now 2 aircraft left. And I should say that there is, well, there's 1 more aircraft left now. So it's a matter of just chasing him, I guess. He's just taken off from his airfield, probably come back from being AFK. And usually I like to leave the people on their airfield, but no, he's just taken off, and he's a juicy target. I kind of want the 5th kill of the match. So we're going to go get him, because microwave pizza sounds like a delicious meal, and I'm in a mood for killing things as my drop tanks fall off. Now, the MiG-23 has buggered off, so I guess we are clear to engage the F-5. That's if everything goes to plan. Now, this aircraft would probably be better in ground realistic, I'm going to admit. It's probably going to be a little bit easier to use as a close air support vehicle, like its actual intended role. Why am I using it as a fighter? Well, I just am. You know, sometimes it's fun to use things that aren't supposed to be fighters as fighters. Now, I've completely and utterly messed up my run on that F-5. Now, he should really be pulling up towards me. I'm in a very vulnerable state here. The F-5 doesn't realise how manoeuvrable this thing is, and comparatively, that's like a 0 versus a B-17 at this kind of instance. Now, the MiG-23 has also launched his missile, but it gets eaten by flares, and, well, I don't miss. So, there you go. That is the match. Gee, what a mouthful. And certainly, what a fucking horrible aircraft. So yeah, there's that. Onto the scoreboard. Now, not really going to talk about the scoreboard too much. Is this event vehicle worth it? No, not really. Is it a collector's item? Sure, if you really must call it a collector's item. But personally, this machine provides no value to the game than, say, a MiG-29 does. So, you know, you're looking at several factors here. This is a fast jet, it is a bomber, that's its primary intended role. Use it as that, don't use it as a fighter. And if you have to defend yourself, then by all means do so. But otherwise, you know, just have a little bit of fun while you can with it, because they're going to be disappearing. And as more players realize that this thing is not meant for realistic battles at all, go into some ground forces or even simulator for that matter, and have some fun there with this particular machine. Otherwise, it is completely and utterly worthless towards top tier, at least in terms of a viable fighter. Now, sure, you could easily do more with the guns, but there isn't really much else to say here. It is an incredibly fat bus that goes really quick, and that's all it does well. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this aircraft deserves its battle rating? Do you think that other Tornadoes should be 10.7? And do you think Italy should get its anti-ship missiles that this particular vehicle does as well? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe, chuck me a like, come join the Discord or follow me on Twitter or on Twitch, where I'll be live streaming in the coming days with maybe this machine. Who knows? My name is Ash. Thank you very much to the channel members, and I will catch you in the next one. All right. Cheerio. Bye-bye.